not everyone is going to be staying alive. If the squad has anything to say about it, they are at it again. Some in the merry band of progressive lawmakers think it is racist for Congress to take on China. The House voted overwhelmingly to establish a select committee challenging the communist Chinese on things like trade, defense, foreign policy, and human rights. 146 Democrats joined Republicans in backing the measure, but Ayanna Pressley thinks it's a terrible idea.
It's really clear that this is just a committee that would further embolden anti-Asian rhetoric and hate and put lives at risk.
So do you think the 146 Democrats who voted yes on it are wrong in their votes?
We just see it differently.
All right, interesting. You know who might see it the same way she does? The Chinese Communist Party. Those would be talking points that they would offer in order to create a little bit of a firestorm in the U.S.
Absolutely. But, I don't mind any opposition, but not one that's based on a lie, right? Anti-Asian hate, believe it or not, is not driven by these geopolitical moves. I don't think that zoned out junkie who slugs an Asian woman or pushes her in front of the train, is up to speed on America-China relations or gets a newsletter from the Council on Foreign Relations, right? The reason why so many of the anti-Asian hate crimes remains unreported by the media is because it doesn't fit that storyline, right? It doesn't fit. If you look at who's doing it, it's not the angry white trucker mad that diseased bat soup gave him COVID. It's minorities on the street that are actually beating these Asian women up, and it's like that just goes against that narrative.
And also, did they talk about it then? Did any of them? Where was AOC? Remember, we kept asking, are you going to comment on this? And
yeah,
she never
especially
did.
in New York City.
No, she never did.
I mean, her constituents were beating the living daylights out of poor Asian women, to Greg's point. But Mike Gallagher is going to chair this committee. How serious is he? And, he has said that he doesn't want people who just want a viral moment.
Yeah.
What was it about his approach that made it more attractive to Democrats?
Well, it's interesting. He had bipartisan support for getting this appointment, and he's super serious about it. One of the things he plans to do is he's going to call Disney's Bob Iger and NBA's Silver. What's his first name? Silver? The first
Darren?
name?
David?
Adam
that's
Silver,
what I said.
Sorry. To come and testify because about Disney bending over backwards to make sure China's happy and what that happened with the NBA. You mentioned Enes Kanter Freedom. Of course, we know a little bit about that story. So those are the types of hearings that you never would have gotten without a committee like this. It's pretty interesting. And as to what Pressley was saying, I just think it's ridiculous to suggest we can't distinguish from the Chinese Communist Party and Asian Americans here at home. The Chinese Communist Party unleashed a pandemic on the world that killed millions. And we are still living with the consequences of that to this day. We also don't know where billions of dollars of taxpayer investment went. So there's going to be an investigation into that. So I think that the committee that's going to look into China is going to have a lot more bipartisan support than probably other things on Capitol Hill this year.
All right. So how big of a threat is China to business, culture, and the world in terms of unleashing another pandemic? Why would Ayanna Pressley try and minimize that when it is such a big problem?
For her, being woke is more important than being alive. If Ayanna Pressley was president, we can only get tough with white countries. Russia, the French, who I'm kind of itching for a fight with. If you're Japan, if you're China, if you're the cartels, if you're a Muslim nation, you know what? Bring it on. We're just going to lay down because we don't want to offend anybody. Do you remember that attitude during the war on terror?
Yep.
You don't want to get too tough with these Muslims, because Islamophobia, that is the real threat. So take away the trade, defense policy, take away everything. Just as you said, on COVID alone, they unleashed this disease that murders 1 million Americans, and you're sitting in Congress, you're like, you know what? I'd rather talk about infrastructure. I don't know who her constituents are, but I can't imagine they support that. Her constituents died from COVID-19. I think their families might want to get tough on China.
And
it might have been America that was involved in that lab. So if, she's America hater, another reason to look into it.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many questions. China obviously has a 50-year strategy for achieving global hegemony. The United States, we have a different strategy based on who's president. But what the message they're sending in Congress is, we want to protect ourselves as a nation. We want to have a policy about China that is not necessarily partisan?
I think that while I am, generally speaking, sympathetic to the Squad, I like AOC a lot. I like her verve, her grit, her energy. The problem is that they get off on these tangents that are so silly. To worry about people being anti-China because of these actions that they're taking is ridiculous when you think China is the menace. It's far more threatening to the United States. Russia is under 200 million. China is 1 billion, some hundred millions. I think that China will represent our future adversary forever until something awful happens, and it doesn't. Go down micro, shrink it down now to anti-Asian sentiment in the city and in other places. With many Asian friends, I can tell you, particularly the women, are petrified. Obviously a notorious case brings it to the fore, but they live in a constant sense that they are different, that they will be singled out, that every person of color that they walk past, man, that is a potential threat to them. It's really very, very sad what has happened. And I think that wokeness doesn't help. What the approach should be is frankness, confront it, inclusion, real inclusion, not BS, PR stuff like this.
I wonder what her position is on the Supreme Court case in regards to the Asian American students from Harvard.
That's a good question.
Who are saying that they've been discriminated against.
I mean, maybe the most discriminated against group in higher education. Arguably so the data bears that out. And, it's like, that's not even being politically correct. Can you speak honestly to that? And you haven't heard a peep.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.